This is the second part of C# WinForms visual control. We are going to create another application that uses visual controls. Okay, so let's start creating a new project. Let's use the default file name. In this sample project, we're going to create a simple calendar page. We will add a label on our form and then display the current date and time of our computer. Okay, so let's start. Let's first fix the properties of our form. The properties that we are going to change are the same properties that we have mentioned in the previous videos. Okay, so let's start. All right, so now let's add the label. Inside of your toolbar, let's look for the label. Here you go, and then place it at the middle, and then change the font size of the label from your properties. While the label is selected, look for the font property. Then click the ellipse button, and then change this to, let's say, around 48. So there you go. And then what we want to happen is that when we run this application, it will display the current date and time. All right. So to do this, let's write some codes inside of our load event. So let's double click our form, or you can also use the event list icon from the properties window and then double click the load. So you can double click this or double click your form, the empty area on your form. So both procedure the same. All right, so let's write the name of our label. We don't know yet the name of our label. So let's go back to our form designer and let's check the name of the label. So the name of the label is, go back to the properties, select the name. Okay, label 1. So let's name this LBL date. Okay, so there you go. Then let's go back to our load event of the form. Okay, so let's type here LBL date, the text, which refers to the text property of our label date, equals to date time, that now, that toString. Okay, so the date and time, or the date time, is a class that contains the present date. So we use the now because we want to get the present date. And since the text property of the label is of a string type, so we need to convert the now into string, and we can do that by using the method toString. Okay, so let's have a look by clicking the start button. Okay, so it seems our application is working, but it is not placed at the center of our form. So let's go back to our form designer and make some changes. Okay, so let's change this to smaller size, font, ellipse button, and then select a smaller size. There you go, and then place it somewhere here at the left side, and then let's try running it again. Okay, so today is February 8th, 2022, 6 o'clock, 6 minutes, and 24 seconds. But what we want to happen is that we want to see our time changes according to the time of our computer. So every time we start it again, it will change to 27. So we need to stop and start the application before we can see the changes in the date and time. So to do this, we are going to use what we call the timer control. Okay, so the timer control will provide us a way of triggering an event every time there are changes in the time of our computer. So let's look for the timer control. Timer control, timer. So there you go. We have now this timer. You can see this timer from the components. Okay, look for the components and then you can find there the timer. Just double click the timer and the timer will appear at the component tray below of our Visual Studio. Okay, so this is our timer. Okay, so the event associated with our timer is only what we call the tick event. So the tick event is usually invoked every time that there are changes in the date and time of our computer. So that is why this is a suitable one to use if you want to display the updated date and time of our computer inside of our Windows form. Okay, so let's go back to our property, select the timer, and then change the enabled property to true because by default that is false. So set this to true. There you go. And then still, while our timer is selected, go to the event icon, double click the tick so that we can open the tick event of the timer. And from here, we are also going to write the same code we wrote under the load event of our form. So let's write here text equals date time that now. Okay, then let's run the application. Okay, so there you go. We have now a simple calendar form in our Windows form project. So we have the date, we have the time. Okay, so let's make this fancier. Let's go back to our Windows form, and then this time we will add some date formatting. So let's write here. Okay, so we were able to change the date format of our calendar. So it shows now the three-letter name of our month, two digits for our date, and for our year, hour, minutes, and seconds. So, but we are missing the day part if it is AM or PM. Okay. Let's add some more features in our calendar form. What we will do now is select the label, go to the properties, and let's change the property auto size. Let's change this to false. After changing this to false, you will notice that we can now resize our label. Then after that, we will change the dock property of this label. So go to the dock property while your label is still selected, and then you choose the fill. So the center here stands for dock fill. At the top is the dock top, at the bottom is the dock button, and of course dock left and dock right. So this is dock fill, meaning when we set this to dock fill, it will occupy all the space available inside of our form. So let's observe. Now I want you to observe the label. After clicking this, the label will occupy the entire space of our form. Then after that, let's go to the text align, and then set this text align to center or middle center so that the distance between left and right as well as the top and bottom are all equal. And then we can now resize our form and the label will go according to the size of our form. Okay, so let's try running this. There you go. Okay, so that ends this video and thank you for watching.